For 3 centuries, humanity had watched the stars in silence, not out of fear but with calculated patience. While the great powers of the galaxy, the Cravener Empire, the Meridian Collective, and the Sildari Dominion, fought their endless wars, Earth quietly prepared. Under the leadership of Fleet Marshal Marcus Thuron, humanity's hidden fleet grew in the shadows of distant nebulae and forgotten asteroid fields. The Terran Defense Force maintained its secrecy through revolutionary quantum camouflage technology developed by Dr. Jun Nakamura. His breakthrough allowed human ships to remain undetected even as they studied the galaxy's major powers. These vessels, known as ghost ships, gathered intelligence that would prove invaluable in the coming storm. On the frontier outpost of Helios Station, Lieutenant Olivia Drake monitored the quantum communications array when the first distress signal arrived. The message came from a species humanity had never directly contacted, the Nyxians, known throughout the galaxy for their peaceful nature and advanced biological sciences. "This is Ambassador Krell of the Nyxian Concordat," the message crackled. "Our colony on Ventara Prime is under attack by Cravener forces. They seek our biotech research. We have no weapons, no defenses. If anyone can hear this, please, help us." Lieutenant Drake's hands trembled as she forwarded the transmission to Fleet Command. For years, she had watched similar messages go unanswered as the galaxy's powers ignored the pleas of weaker species. But this time would be different. In the depths of Luna Base, Fleet Marshal Thuron received the transmission in his command center. The holographic displays showed the Nyxian colony's location, dangerous close to Cravener space. His second-in-command, Captain Hideo Tanaka, studied the tactical overlays with a grim expression. "The Craveners have gone too far this time," Thuron said, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation. "They think they can prey on peaceful species without consequence. It's time to show them how wrong they are." Within hours, the TDF's Ghost Fleet activated their quantum drives. 50 ships, each carrying technology that would shock the galaxy's powers, emerged from their hidden docks. Their commander, Rear Admiral Victoria Santos, had waited 20 years for this moment. The Nyxian colony on Ventara Prime was a marvel of organic architecture, living buildings that reached toward the violet sky. Now those structures burned as Cravener warships rained plasma fire from orbit. The Cravener commander, War Baron Kex, watched with satisfaction as his forces systematically destroyed the Nyxians' defensive barriers. What he didn't notice was the distortion in space behind his fleet as humanity's ships dropped out of quantum space. The first sign of their presence came when the Cravener heavy cruiser, Bloodfist, simply ceased to exist, vaporized by weapons that operated on principles the galaxy had never seen. "All ships weapons free," Admiral Santos commanded. "Show them what humanity has been working on." The Ghost Fleet's attack was devastating. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Cravener shields as if they didn't exist. Graviton beams twisted space itself, crushing warships like tin cans. War Baron Kex barely had time to realize his fleet was under attack before his command ship systems failed. On the planet's surface, the surviving Nyxians watched in awe as unknown vessels, sleek, dark, and deadly, systematically eliminated their attackers. When the last Cravener ship fell silent, a transmission reached the colony's emergency channels. "This is Admiral Victoria Santos of the Terran Defense Force. Your distress call has been answered. We stand ready to assist with medical aid and reconstruction." Ambassador Krell, his crystalline skin reflecting the fires of battle, responded with trembling voice. We had no idea humans possessed such power. Why have you hidden for so long?" "Because," Santos replied, "sometimes the best way to protect peace is to prepare for war. The galaxy needs to learn that preying on the innocent has consequences. Today is just the beginning." News of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Cravener Empire, for the first time in its bloody history, had been handed a crushing defeat by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The Meridian Collective scrambled to reassess their intelligence on Earth. The Sildari Dominion called an emergency council. In his command center, Fleet Marshal Thuron watched the diplomatic chaos unfold with grim satisfaction. "Send word to all our hidden bases," he ordered Captain Tanaka. "Operation Stormbreak begins now. The galaxy wanted to ignore humanity. They're about to find out that was their biggest mistake." As Helios Station's quantum array picked up the reactions from across the galaxy, Lieutenant Drake couldn't help but smile. Humanity had waited in silence for centuries, building, preparing, watching. Now the galaxy would learn why. The age of humanity had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The Cravener High Command faced its first internal rebellion in 500 years. War Baron Kex's defeat at Ventara Prime had shattered their image of invincibility. In the fortress city of Kravos Prime, Supreme Warlord Dracoth crushed his communication device, his scaled skin darkening with rage. "How dare these humans?" he snarled at his assembled war council. "They hide for centuries, then destroy one of our finest fleets. Ready the Crimson Armada, we will make an example of Earth." But humanity had anticipated this response. At Helios Station, Lieutenant Drake intercepted the Cravener battle plans before they even left their secure channels. The quantum intelligence network developed by Dr. Nakamura had already compromised the enemy's supposedly unbreakable encryption. "They're mobilizing everything," Drake reported to Fleet Marshal Thuron. 300 warships, including their dreadnought World Ender. They plan to strike Earth directly. Thuron's holographic image smiled. "Perfect. They're playing right into our hands. Signal Admiral Santos and activate Phase 2. The Terran Ghost Fleet had not been idle since Ventara Prime. While the Craveners raged and planned, humanity's ships had seeded quantum mines throughout their territory. These devices, invisible to conventional sensors, waited like digital predators in the dark of space. As the Crimson Armada began its advance, the first ships vanished in silent explosions. Supreme Warlord Dracoth watched in horror as his fleet's formation broke apart, ships disappearing into quantum fire. But this was just the beginning. "Launch the Thunderbirds," Admiral Santos commanded from her flagship, Humanity's Dawn. Across the fleet, launch bays opened to release humanity's latest weapon, autonomous combat drones powered by quantum AI cores. The Thunderbirds moved with impossible speed, their neural networks processing combat data faster than organic minds could comprehend. They sliced through Cravener formations like digital scalpels, their energy weapons finding weak points that even the Craveners didn't know existed. On the bridge of the World Ender, Dracoth faced a terrible realization. "Their technology, it's beyond anything we've seen. How long have they been planning this?" The answer came in the form of Captain Tanaka's voice, broadcasting on all frequencies. "For 3 centuries, we watched you prey on weaker species. We studied your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. Everything you see today was designed specifically to counter your strategies. This is humanity's response to your brutality." The battle that followed would be studied in war colleges for generations. The Thunderbirds herded the Crimson Armada into killing zones where quantum mines waited. Admiral Santos's fleet struck from multiple vectors, using technology that made conventional space combat doctrine obsolete. Dr. Nakamura, watching from his laboratory on Luna Base, saw his theories proven in spectacular fashion. The quantum camouflage systems didn't just hide human ships. They allowed them to appear to be in multiple places simultaneously, confusing enemy targeting systems. "Your empire ends today," Admiral Santos transmitted to the World Ender. "But we're not like you. Surrender and your crews will be spared." Pride had been the Cravener Empire's defining trait for millennia. But as Dracoth watched his mighty armada reduced to quantum-scattered debris, pride gave way to survival instinct. The World Ender, pride of the Cravener fleet, transmitted its surrender. News of the battle spread even faster than the Ventara Prime incident. The Meridian Collective immediately recalled its ambassadors from Cravener space. The Sildari Dominion began secret communications with Earth, seeking to understand this new power. In the aftermath, Lieutenant Drake's quantum arrays picked up thousands of transmissions from across the galaxy. Species that had suffered under Cravener oppression began reaching out to Earth, seeking protection and alliance. Fleet Marshal Thuron addressed the Terran Defense Force. The galaxy is changing. For centuries, we prepared in silence. Now we will build something new, not an empire of conquest, but a shield for those who cannot defend themselves. On Luna Base, Dr. Nakamura and his team were already working on new innovations. The quantum technology that had won this battle was just the beginning. Humanity's renaissance was about to reshape the galaxy. Admiral Santos stood on the observation deck of Humanity's Dawn, watching as captured Cravener ships were escorted to Earth for study. Captain Tanaka joined her, holding a datapad with reports from across human space. "The other powers are scrambling," he said. "They've realized their intelligence on Earth was completely wrong. The Meridians are particularly nervous. They've been almost as aggressive as the Craveners in recent years." "Let them worry," Santos replied. "We didn't develop this technology for conquest, but we'll use it to ensure that no species ever has to send a desperate distress call unanswered again." Operation Stormbreak had achieved more than military victory. It had announced humanity's arrival as a galactic power in terms that couldn't be ignored. The Silent Watchers had emerged from the shadows, and the galaxy would never be the same. The grand chamber of the Meridian Collective's council tower hummed with tension. First speaker Lyra V stood before the assembled representatives of 30 star systems, her crystalline form refracting light across the chamber walls. The holographic displays behind her showed footage of the devastating defeat of the Cravener Crimson Armada. "We can no longer ignore the human factor," she declared. "Their quantum technology has changed everything. The balance of power we've maintained for millennia is crumbling." In Earth's orbital diplomatic station, Unity Point, Fleet Marshal Thuron received a stream of diplomatic requests. The Sildari Dominion, the Meridian Collective, and dozens of smaller species all sought audience with humanity's leadership. But it was the arrival of an unexpected visitor that caught everyone's attention. A Cravener diplomatic vessel, stripped of weapons and escorted by Thunderbird drones, brought High Diplomat Zykestel to the station. The former enemy representative's scales had dulled with stress, but his voice remained steady as he addressed Thuron. "Supreme Warlord Drakath is dead," he announced. "The progressive faction has taken control of the Empire. We seek reconciliation." Lieutenant Drake, monitoring from her new position as Chief of Communications, detected a surge of encrypted transmissions following this news. The galaxy's power structure was realigning itself in real time. Dr. Nakamura's latest breakthrough couldn't have come at a better time. His team had developed quantum communication nodes that could create instantaneous, untraceable links across vast distances. "We can establish a new kind of interstellar alliance," he explained to Admiral Santos. "One bound together by technology no one else possesses." The Nixians were the first to formally align with Earth. Ambassador Krell, speaking for his people, offered their advanced biological science in exchange for protection. "Our peoples complement each other perfectly," he observed. "Your quantum technology, our organic engineering, together we could achieve wonders." The Meridian Collective, watching these developments with growing concern, made their move. First speaker Lyra V arrived personally at Unity Point, her crystalline form drawing gasps from the human diplomatic staff. "We propose a three-way alliance," she announced to Thuron and Ambassador Krell. "The Meridian Collective's industrial might, Nixian bioscience, and human quantum technology. We could reshape the galaxy." But Captain Tanaka, now promoted to Intelligence Director, had uncovered disturbing information. "The Collective is arming itself," he reported to Admiral Santos. "They're trying to reverse engineer our quantum technology from battle debris. They see us as a threat." The situation complicated further when the Sildari Dominion revealed their hand. Their ambassador, the enigmatic void speaker Nyx, brought an unexpected warning. The Meridians plan betrayal. They've already signed secret pacts with frontier worlds, building a coalition to contain human expansion. Fleet Marshal Thuron called an emergency meeting of Earth's leadership. The holographic chamber filled with military and civilian leaders as they debated their response to these developments. "We didn't emerge from hiding to become conquerors," Thuron reminded them. But we also can't allow ourselves to be contained or controlled by the old powers. Admiral Santos proposed a bold solution. We use Dr. Nakamura's quantum communication network to create something new, an open alliance. Any species can join, regardless of size or power, as long as they commit to mutual defense and peaceful resolution of conflicts. The proposal sent shockwaves through galactic society. The Meridian Collective's attempted coalition crumbled as smaller species flocked to Earth's banner. The promise of protection, advanced technology, and equal standing proved more attractive than the old power structures. First speaker Lyra V made one final attempt to maintain the old order. She offered Earth a seat among the great powers, a position of privilege in exchange for maintaining the traditional hierarchy of species. Thuron's response was broadcast across the quantum network. Humanity remembers being ignored, being considered insignificant. We will not perpetuate that system. All species deserve the chance to grow, to develop, to be heard. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins. The Nixians were the first to formally join what would become known as the Quantum Concordat. Their biological research stations, now protected by human quantum shields and Thunderbird drones, began producing revolutionary medical treatments that benefited all member species. Even the reformed Cravener Empire, under High Diplomat Zeikstel's guidance, petitioned to join. Their military expertise, once used for conquest, would now serve to protect the growing alliance. Lieutenant Drake's quantum arrays were busier than ever, coordinating communications between hundreds of worlds. The network Dr. Nakamura had created was becoming the nervous system of a new galactic society. "We're creating something unprecedented," Admiral Santos observed to Captain Tanaka as they watched ships from dozens of species dock at Unity Point. Not an empire, not a collective, but a true federation of equals. The old powers wouldn't accept this new reality without a fight. The Meridian Collective's ships were massing on their borders, and the Sildari Dominion played both sides with characteristic duplicity. But humanity had learned from centuries of watching, waiting, and preparing. Whatever came next, they would face it not alone, but alongside allies who shared their vision of a more just galaxy. The skies above New Eden Colony erupted in quantum fire. The Meridian Collective had finally shown their hand, launching a massive assault against the Quantum Concordat's newest member world. But humanity had been ready. Multiple hostile contacts, Lieutenant Drake's voice cut through the command channel. Meridian warships dropping out of hyperspace. Count exceeds 2,000 vessels. They've brought their entire fleet. Admiral Santos stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned dreadnought Terra Invicta, watching as the massive Meridian armada emerged from hyperspace. Their crystalline ships sparkled like deadly jewels against the void. "They've copied some of our quantum technology," Dr. Nakamura reported from his tactical station. "But their understanding is incomplete. They're using it as a blunt instrument rather than understanding its true potential." The Meridian fleet, led by Battle Master Helix in his flagship Crystal Ascendant, moved with deadly purpose. But they found no easy target. Instead of the small colonial defense force they expected, they faced the combined might of the Quantum Concordat. Nixian organic ships, their living hulls enhanced with quantum shields, moved in perfect coordination with human vessels. Reformed Cravener battlecruisers, their weapons now guided by quantum targeting systems, took up defensive positions. Dozens of other species' ships, all linked through Dr. Nakamura's quantum network, formed an unprecedented unified force. "All ships execute Pattern Omega," Admiral Santos commanded. The Concordat fleet split into smaller groups, each moving with precision that would have been impossible without their quantum links. Thunderbird drones swarmed between the formations, their AI cores processing combat data at incredible speeds. Battle Master Helix's confident expression faltered as he watched the defense unfold. "Impossible," he muttered. "The coordination required. No fleet has ever achieved such synchronization." The battle that followed would rewrite military doctrine across the galaxy. The Meridian fleet's superior numbers meant nothing against an enemy that fought as one unified organism. Quantum-linked ships moved and fired as extensions of each other's will, covering blind spots and maximizing tactical advantages. First speaker Lyra V, watching from the collective's capital, realized too late the true nature of humanity's achievement. "The quantum network," she whispered. "It's not just for communication. They've created a collective consciousness in battle." Director Tanaka's intelligence network had predicted the Meridian's strategies. Their attempts to use copied quantum technology backfired spectacularly, as Dr. Nakamura's true quantum systems interfered with their crude imitations, causing cascading failures throughout their fleet. The Thunderbird drones demonstrated their latest evolution, linking together to form larger structures that could match capital ships in firepower. The Meridian crews watched in horror as their advanced warships were systematically dismantled by weapons that seemed to bypass physical laws. "Your technological theft ends here," Admiral Santos transmitted to the Meridian fleet. "Surrender now, and we can avoid further bloodshed." But Battlemaster Helix had one final card to play. The Crystal Ascendant activated a prototype quantum drive, attempting to tear a hole in spacetime itself. "If we cannot have this power, no one will." Dr. Nakamura's eyes widened as he read the energy signatures. "They're trying to create a quantum singularity. They'll destroy this entire sector." What happened next demonstrated why humanity had spent centuries preparing rather than rushing to reveal themselves. The Terra Invicta's quantum core pulsed with energy that shouldn't have been possible. Space itself seemed to bend as Dr. Nakamura's most secret project activated. "Quantum nullification field engaged," he announced. The Meridian weapon's energy simply vanished, absorbed and redirected by technology centuries ahead of anything else in the galaxy. Unity Point Station had transformed. What began as a diplomatic outpost now sprawled across space like a living city, its quantum-enhanced architecture blending human engineering with Nyxian organic technology. Representatives from hundreds of species walked its halls, their voices joining in the grand experiment of galactic cooperation. Fleet Marshal Thuron stood in the newly completed Chamber of Worlds, surrounded by holograms of civilizations that hadn't spoken to each other in millennia. The final holdout of the old order, the Sildari Dominion, had requested an audience. Void Speaker Nyx appeared in person rather than by hologram, his ethereal form casting shadows that seemed to move independently. "We have watched your quantum concordat grow," he said, his voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "You have achieved what we thought impossible, genuine cooperation between species that once sought to destroy each other." Lieutenant Drake, monitoring from her new position as Director of Interspecies Communications, detected something she'd never seen before: genuine emotion in the usually inscrutable Sildari's voice. The quantum network had evolved beyond its military origins, becoming a bridge between minds and cultures. Dr. Nakamura's latest innovation demonstrated this evolution. In his laboratory deep within Terra Invicta, he activated the quantum consciousness matrix, a system that allowed beings of any species to share thoughts, memories, and experiences directly. "The technology that won the war," he explained to Admiral Santos, "has become the foundation for true understanding between species. The Craveners can now experience the peace-loving philosophy of the Nyxians. The Meridians share their artistic visions directly with human minds." Former Battle Master Helix, now serving as a peace advisor, stood with Director Tanaka watching ships arrive through the quantum gates. "We thought copying your technology would give us power," he admitted. "We never understood that its true purpose was to eliminate the need for power over others." The Sildari Dominion's request for membership came with an unexpected revelation. "We are not merely joining your concordat," Void Speaker Nyx announced. "We bring knowledge of threats from beyond the galaxy's edge, dangers that no single species could face alone." The quantum network lit up with activity as the Sildari shared their intelligence. Ancient android civilizations, dormant for millions of years, were showing signs of awakening. Massive energy signatures suggested universe-spanning entities had turned their attention toward the Milky Way. This, Fleet Marshal Thuron addressed the Chamber of Worlds, is why humanity waited centuries before revealing ourselves. We knew that our galaxy needed to be unified before facing what lies beyond. The quantum network isn't just about ending our internal conflicts. It's about preparing for something far greater. Dr. Nakamura unveiled the next phase of human innovation, quantum reality engines. These devices could restructure space-time itself, creating defensive barriers that could protect entire star systems. But they require the combined mental energy of multiple species to operate, he explained. No single civilization could power them alone. The former Meridian First speaker, Lyra V., now a prominent advocate for cooperation, crystalline form shimmering with excitement, addressed the chamber. What humanity has given us is not domination, but liberation. Together, we are becoming something greater than the sum of our parts. Admiral Santos stood on Terra Invicta's observation deck with Director Tanaka, watching as ships of all species worked together to construct the first quantum reality engine. "Remember when we hid in the shadows?" she asked. "When we were the silent watchers." "We needed that time," Tanaka replied. "Not just to develop our technology, but to learn from everyone else's mistakes, to understand that true power comes from lifting others up, not pushing them down." Lieutenant Drake's quantum arrays now coordinated the thoughts and intentions of trillions of beings. The network had become a living thing, a collective consciousness that respected and preserved individual identity while fostering unprecedented cooperation. In the Chamber of Worlds, Fleet Marshal Thuron met with representatives of every known species to sign the Quantum Accord, a document that formalized their commitment to face the future as one unified civilization while preserving their unique cultures and autonomy. The Nyxian ambassador Krell, his crystalline form now interfaced directly with the quantum network, expressed what many felt. Humanity did more than save us from ourselves. They showed us what we could become. Together, we are ready for whatever awaits us among the stars. As the first quantum reality engine hummed to life, powered by the combined consciousness of 100 species, humanity's long wait proved its worth. They had emerged from hiding not to conquer, but to unite. Not to dominate, but to protect. Not to rule, but to serve. The age of empires had ended. The age of quantum civilization had begun. And somewhere beyond the galaxy's edge, ancient powers stirred, unknowing that they would face not a collection of divided species, but a unified force unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Humanity had transformed from silent watchers to guardians of a new age. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, illuminating not an end, but a beginning. The Terran Age had dawned, and with it, the promise of adventures yet to come.